Hi, hello. So in this lesson, we are going to cover the AutoCAD Workspace. So this is the first thing you'll see once you open the AutoCAD program. This is the start screen or the welcome screen. Now, to the right, you can read some announcements. If you want to go over, just click on the link. On the lower left, you'll also see some web topics that you might want to explore. And then this is where you open your file, or if you want to start a new drawing file, that's for later. Now on the middle, which I think is a really good feature, this allows you to open the most recent files that you've worked on. If you want to see them in thumbnail format, just change it to this. So it allows you for quick access on the projects that, again, you are currently working on. You can even pin some of them so as not to overlap them with the other files that you've been opening. Okay, that's it for the start screen. Now, I will show you three ways to open a new drawing file. There are more, but let's limit it to three. First things first, you can click on the new tab. So this is drawing one, that is the default name. You can also click on the plus sign icon. If you hover your mouse without clicking, you'll see that it says new drawing. So just click on the plus sign. So that is now your drawing two. Next, you can open a new drawing file by going on to the AutoCAD button or AutoCAD icon. This is the red one. Just click on the drop down arrow and then click on new. If you hover your mouse to the arrow, you can either open a sheet set or a new drawing. And then there are some info about it, like start a new drawing with a selected drawing template file. And then just click on that. This is the default. Just click open. And then that's it. Now we are going to cover from top to bottom, left to right. So let's go over what's inside your AutoCAD icon first. So these are some basic file tools like how to open, how to save as, import, export. By the way, you can export different file extensions. And what's important though is this part, drawing utilities. So before you start any drawing at all, always check drawing utilities. Click on the arrow, go to units. So let me read control, coordinate, and angle display formats and precision. Always check your units when you're starting a new drawing. So here, this is the default. Change this to decimal. It's already at decimal. Sorry for that. And then for precision, let's limit it to 4 decimal places. So this refers to the accuracy. And then next, you have your units to scale inserted content. Always change this to meters since we use the metric system here in the Philippines. And then just click on OK. And then you're good to go. Okay, let's go. Now, where was I? Okay, so to the right, I mean to the top part, this is your quick access toolbar. Again, this is new, open, save as, and undo, redo, print, or plot. If you are confused with the number of icons this has, just hover your mouse like this, and then it will give you an idea about the use of that tool or icon. It even has a mini tutorial as what you can see here for rotate. Okay, let's continue. On the upper middle part, this is your title bar. It shows you the model that you're using. Now, in this case, I am using AutoCAD 2022. By the way, it doesn't really matter what version you are using. They they barely have any changes. Well, that's for me. If you use an earlier or the latest version, it's totally fine. And yeah, that's it. Um, on the right is your drawing file name. So let me try and open a new file. By the way, let's access that through the AutoCAD icon. To the right, you can actually see again your most recent documents or your most recent files. And just like the start screen, you can pin these things. Like, for example, I'm currently working on this project. I'm going to pin this. Okay, that's simple. Now, let's open that. Now, you'll notice that the icon, I mean, the file name has already changed here in the title bar. Okay, let's continue. This is the information bar or the help desk or the help bar. Just type in any questions you have or any word prompts. Like, for example, I want to know more about dimensioning or about dimensions. This should lead you to the Autodesk AutoCAD help screen. And whatever version you're using, it's going to lead to there. So everything about dimensions. Okay, so very convenient. And then you have the minimize, maximize, and X for close. Okay, and this one's everything about AutoCAD, like your account, if you want to buy, subscribe, or whatever. Okay, now, before I go on further, let's talk about the different workspaces in AutoCAD. Right now, we are currently using, if you click here on the gear icon here, it says workspace switching. Now click on the drop down arrow. We are currently using drafting and annotation. This is the default, especially good when you're just using 2D. Now let's say you want to make 3D models in AutoCAD. Just click on 3D basics. Now you'll notice that the ribbon has already changed, right? And then let's click on 3D modeling. So that's even more tools for advanced modeling. Okay, so that's it. Now again, to switch your workspaces, just click on the gear icon. We like to call this as Rosquilius because it looks like a cookie. But anyway, click on drafting and annotation. By the way, you can always customize your workspace, but for ease, I'll always discuss whatever is the default format. Okay, now we're back to the default workspace, drafting and annotation. Now, where was I? So we are done with the topmost part. The entire thing here is called a ribbon. Okay, it's called ribbon because it looks like one. Now, these are the different tabs on the ribbon. So first, we are at the Home tab, and under the Home tab are different tabs as well. So you have Draw, Modify, Annotation, Layers, Block, etc. Now, we are going to cover each tab, like maybe several lessons under Draw to make it easier for you. And then let's switch tabs. This is insert. Like if you want to insert a new drawing file or an XREF or a PDF or a picture, you go here, annotate everything about dimensions, and then parametric view, manage output, add ins, etc. Okay, so we will mainly focus on the home tab since this has pretty much everything that we need. Okay, but that's for a separate video. Now let's continue with the different tabs. These are your file tabs. So file tabs, these are the current files that you're opening. Now if you hover your mouse, you'll also see thumbnails. It shows you the layout and the model space. Okay, now let's close these two because we don't really need them anymore. We are not gonna save them. So I'll just retain drawing one and the file that I'm currently opening. Now, that's it for the file tab. They're very easy to understand. I try to keep this low because I don't want to confuse myself with way too many tabs open. Now, this is called the drawing area or the model space. This is basically where you make your drawings, just like this. Here, this is your model space. Okay, and then since we've covered everything on the top, let's go to the lower tabs. So this is your model tab and your layout tab. So the model tab, this is where you make the model, the drawings, etc. The layout tab, from the name itself, that is where you do your layout. So if you view the thumbnail, you can actually see a triangle which kind of indicates it's for layout. So yeah, this is how it's gonna look like on paper, in other words. Okay, so you don't want to ruin your model drawings or your drawings from here. So you want to keep your words, your title blocks, your bars here. That is the main purpose of the layout tab. Now, I have already made several videos on how to do your layout or plotting in AutoCAD. Like you can do it here in the model space, which is this one. And then you can also, ideally, you should do your layout using your paper space or your layout tab since it's the main function of your layout tab. But like in my case, I've worked in different construction firms before. So I don't know. They kind of like it this way. I don't know. Maybe it's for ease of access. But yeah, it just depends on your preference. Although personally, I do like using the layout tab because there won't be any problems with the scaling. Although I do understand why some of them like to do it this way because av- um, at least you get to see everything on like in this format, I guess. But the scaling, you'll have to do the scaling inside. Okay, more on that later, but for now, that's it. Okay, where was I? Okay, now let's talk about the navigation. So ideally, I should be showing you my mouse, but I'm still a beginner when it comes to video editing. So yeah, I don't really know how to do that. But just imagine, okay, and here's a picture of your mouse. Okay, so let's go. So let's cover the scroll button first. If you zoom in, that is moving your scroll button forward. That is zoom in. Okay, that's it. Zoom in. If you move your scroll button backwards, that is zoom out, just like that. Now, if you hold your scroll button, that is your pan or your pan tool. Now you can access that on the navigation bars. By the way, the whole thing is called the navigation bar. So you can also access that through here. Okay, but it's so much easier to just use your mouse. So that's hold. And then your left click is for your object selection and drawing specification. So I'll show you that. Let's say I want to select this letter. So I'll just use my left click. Okay. Now to escape from the selection, just use your escape button. Now let's say, since it is also for drawing specification, let's say I want to make a line. It's gonna ask specify first point. I'm also gonna use my left click. So that's it. Okay, that's what it means. Now for your right click, it's for customization to improve drawing to productivity. So how does it look like if I click on my right click button of my mouse? So you can have access to the options tab, which allows you to customize your AutoCAD and your pretty much the colors and everything else, like the properties. And then it allows you easy access to your last command activated and the pan and the zoom. So it helps you with the navigation basically. And then that's it. So what these blue and green lines mean, that's for another video because I don't want this video to be too long. So that's it for the navigation. The navigation is really important. It's one of the first things that you have to somehow master. Although it's not going to be too hard because if you transition to a different CAD program like maybe SketchUp, they're more or less the same. So it's going to be very easy for you. Okay, so to end the video, uh let's just try and activate like the circle command. Okay. So here again, this is your command line, right? You have to read this from time to time, especially when activating a command. And to the lower right, this is your status bar before I forget. So there are so many things that we need to cover for the status bar, so I'm gonna have to make a separate video for that, especially for object snaps. So yeah, now how do we activate a command? So again, just to repeat, click on the icon first, or you can type in the shortcut command in the command bar, which is this one, or command line rather. So read what's on your command line. It says specify center point for circle. So you can basically click anywhere on the screen. I'm going to place it here. And then the command line again, what does it say? Specify radius of the circle. So let's say the radius is 1. Oh, wait a minute. So you are going to type in 1 in the command line and then enter. So this is your circle with radius 1. Now, let's do that again, but this time let's type the word or the shortcut command. So the shortcut command for circle is just letter C. And then to confirm, you may press spacebar or enter. And then specify center point of the circle. So let's say I want my circle to be on 0, comma 0. That is my X and Y axis. I am typing 0, comma 0 on my command line. And then enter to activate. Now it's on my, by the way, this is your X and Y axis or your UCS. Okay, so I've already explained this before, but your model space is basically in a very huge Cartesian plane. So everything is X and Y value. And then if you do your 3D, you have your Z value. Okay, now let's say my radius is, or let's say I want it this time to be diameter. I'm going to click on this one. Now let's say my diameter is also 1. So this should be a smaller circle. So that's it. Very simple. So again, this is your command line. And you can also see the history of everything you've used. Again, I will make a separate video for the other things so that we'll just cover the basics for now. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.